Hi everyone, my name's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a massive book haul. As you can see behind me, my shelves look pretty empty, and that's because I haven't done a book haul in 7 months. I did one shortly after starting this channel, and now I have 3 gigantic stacks next to me of books I've gotten in the last 7 months. Many of these are from used bookstores, many of these are pre-orders I had or new releases, and some of them are just books I've bought myself. So it's a little daunting. I'm definitely not going to be going into synopsises of these books because we'd be here forever. So I'm just going to quickly talk about all these books I've gotten in the past 7 months. I'm doing this right before the holidays because I'm probably going to get some more books for the holidays as gifts or with gift cards or what have you. So figured I would get all of these out of the way and then I'll do another one after the holidays, which will hopefully be smaller than this. So without further ado, let's just start. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm just going to start with this stack, I guess. First up, I have, also these are not in any order. These are in no particular order because I just grabbed them off the shelves of books I knew I had gotten after my last book haul video, so no order. I have Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is the second book in the Between Earth and Sky series, the first one being Black Sun. This just came out this year. It was a pre-order. Didn't love it as much as Black Sun, but I think it's set up for a very cool trilogy finale. I think this is a trilogy. I'm not actually sure. So got this year. Next up, I have another pre-order, and that is Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is a dark academia story set in the 1800s Britain, I believe. Hoping to read this in the next month or two. I've been meaning to read it every month and then things get in the way, mostly Buddy reads. So really hoping to read this soon because I think I will love it. Next up is another pre-order. That is The Atlas Paradox by Olive Blake. This is the second book in the Atlas series after the Atlas 6. I have not read this yet because it just came out at the end of October. So I am going to be reading this hopefully in the next month or two as well. I want to read this before January. Really loved the Atlas 6, so I have really high hopes for this one, so we'll see. Next up, I have The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. This is a book I got as an ARC, really loved it, so then I pre-ordered it and got a physical copy. This is a new fantasy series that is it kind of borders like YA and adult. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good, strong start. There's definitely some things in it that weren't super well done, but it is a debut. I think that it has promise, so excited to continue. Next up is another pre-order, one of my most anticipated reads of the year. That is Fury Song by Rosario Munda. This is the third and final book in the Aurelian Cycle series, which is Fireborn, Flamefall, and Fury Song. This is a YA fantasy series that is just phenomenal, one of the best series I've ever read. I love this series oh so much, so this was a great ending to the series. Next up, I have the first 3 books in the Dandelion Dynasty. I have read Grace of Kings, and that's it so far. My mother just found me a hardcover copy at a used bookstore of the 4th book, so I will be getting that in the mail soon. But I have the trade paperbacks of the first 3. I'm hoping to continue this soon. It's just every time I see it, I see how big it is and I get very scared. But I'm hoping to continue this series soon because I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I have all of these. Next up, another Ken Liu book, and that is The Hidden Girl and Other Stories. This is a short story collection of his. I know that I see a lot of people talking about The Paper Menagerie, which is another short story collection of his, but I don't see people talking about this one as much. And I don't know if that's because it's not as good, or it's not as well known, or what, but I'm excited to read this. My mom found this for me at a used bookstore, so yeah, excited to read this. Next up, I bought myself this pretty copy of The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien because I really thought it was pretty, and I thought if I had a pretty copy, maybe it would incentivize me to read it sooner. Hoping to read this, if not by the end of this year, hopefully early next year. The beginning of my next year is looking incredibly, terrifyingly daunting, but I'm still gonna try to get to this sometime in the early 2023. But yeah, this is the only one I've bought so far, but I hope to get all of these editions of this trilogy. Speaking of a busy beginning of next year, I have The Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson. This is the first book in the Malazan series. I'm hosting a read-along with Alex on Tall Guy Reads, and Josh on Red Fury Books, and Ian from Ian the Reader. We are doing a Malazan read-along, which I will link our kickoff video down below. We did a video with Philip Chase, and yeah, we're very excited to start this, so I decided to go ahead and get ahead of the game and get myself the first one, so I'm prepared. I will also say now, it's probably not the best time to say it, I will link down below my link tree, and if you go there, you can find my Amazon wish list. So it has, the reason I bring that up now is because it has the rest of these books on it, but I also have other stuff on there, so if you are interested. But I do have all of these, besides this one, on that wish list. Next up, I have Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Caw. This was a book my friend bought, read it while I was with her, and then she just gave it to me to read. I didn't like it. It's like a tiny little horror novella. Didn't like it. Next up, I have The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is the second book in the Bloodsworn saga. This came out this year and was beautiful. I loved it. Definitely teared up at the end. Very excited for wherever this series goes. I know that John Gwynne took a little break because he was dealing with some heavy stuff. So I will patiently wait, but I'm also very excited for whatever comes next because the ending of this was wild. Next up, I have another pre-order, and that is Kingdom of the Feared by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the third and final book in the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy. This book was fine. This series is nothing special, but it's very entertaining. It's a fantasy romance series. I felt like the ending was a little lackluster, but it's a pretty book, and the 3 books look good on my shelf, so I'll keep it for now. It might end up getting unhauled later on in life, but for now, they're pretty, so. Next up, I have The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. This was another arc I read that I really liked, so I pre-ordered the book. This is the first book in a new series. It's a debut novel, and I really loved it. It is adult fantasy. It is very unique from other adult fantasies. It's not medieval fantasy. It's set in a desert. It's got djinn. It's got magic. It's got a lot of fun, interesting characters, and yeah, I just really liked this series, or this book a lot, and I'm excited for where this series is going to go. Next up, another pre-order. I pre-order a lot of books. If you guys didn't know, speaking of pre-orders help authors a lot. It helps a lot with their first sales. The first week of sales for authors are huge, and pre-orders let the publishers know how many books to print. So if there's books that you are interested in, try to pre-order them because it really does help authors so much rather than just buying it when it comes out. Although first week sales are also very important. So if you are going to wait to buy it when it comes out, do it within that first week. Anyway, my next pre-order on this list is Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel. This is a mythological retelling of the fabled Kaikeyi. I really enjoyed this book, and it was just really well done. I thought it was beautifully written, and the cover is stunning, and yeah, great book. Next up, the sensation, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is the self-pub version, but we'll see if I get the Tor one. I'm not sure yet. But I read this earlier this year. It's just as good as everyone says. It's so lighthearted and heartwarming and beautiful. So read this book if you haven't. It's short, it's entertaining, it's low stakes. It is a perfect palate cleanser of a book. Next up, I have The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. This is a story that I've seen a lot of people raving about, so I am very excited for it. It's also a translated story, which I don't read a lot of translated stories, so I want to try to do that more. So I'm hoping to start this series in 2023 probably. I only have this first one so far, but I'm hoping to get the next 2 later. I might see if I like this one first before buying the next 2, but I have a feeling I'm gonna like them a lot. But we will see. This also won a Hugo Award, so excited to read this. Next up, I have a book that just came out. I just got it in the mail, and that is Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell. I really enjoyed Winter's Orbit, which is her other book that came out recently. I think last year sometime. I have not read this yet. I've been trying to get the audiobook for my library, but none of my libraries have it yet. So I don't know when I'll be able to read this physically if I can't find that audiobook. So I'm not sure, but I want to read it very soon because I really loved Winter's Orbit. And yeah, She writes kind of like sci-fi romance, which is something I don't see a lot, and I loved Winter's Orbit, so I'm really hoping Ocean's Echo works for me as well. I've heard great things so far, so. Next up, I also have a newer release, and that is The Genesis of Misery by Neon Yang. I have a dedicated review up for this that I will link above. This book was kind of a disappointment for me, but overall interesting enough that I will continue. I didn't DNF it. But I'm excited to see where it goes, but also I'm a little more hesitant going into the second one because I had much higher hopes for this one. Next up is a book I just bought. I took myself on a date last weekend and I went to get coffee and I got some empanadas and I went to a bookstore and it was lovely. So I bought myself The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I have never read any of her books, but she is incredibly famous for her books. So I decided to give this one a shot. I don't know much about it, but I'm excited to read it. And it's short, and it's cute, and this is the 50th anniversary edition, so excited for that. Next up is an author I've heard a lot about, but have not read anything of, and that is Nnedi Okorafor, and this is called Noor. This is also a sci-fi book. The author has won a Hugo, a Nebula, and a World Fantasy Award, so this book is something I'm looking forward to. It's shorter. I think it's going to deal a lot with some pretty tough themes based on what I've seen on Goodreads and stuff, but I'm excited to read it, and the cover is really pretty. So I'm kind of slowly building out my sci-fi shelf because I have not read a lot of sci-fi until very recently, so I'm trying to get some more sci-fi on my shelves and read some of the older authors as well. Although I don't know where Nnedi Okorafor falls in there, but that was more reference to Ursula K. Le Guin. But anyway, next up I have a ton of Robin Hobb. So first I have The Inheritance and Other Stories. This is a short story collection by Robin Hobb. I know next to nothing about any of these short stories. My mom found this for me at a used bookstore. So I'm hoping to read some of these. I don't read a lot of short stories, so I'm trying to get more into them. So I'm hoping to read some of these next year. These next Robin Hobb books, I'm just going to hold all up. These are all Realm of the Elderlings books, and they're all used books I've gotten. So I have Fool's Fate, Fool's Quest, Fool's Assassins, City of Dragons, and Dragonhaven. I know these are a random selection, but it is what I have found, or my mom has found for me, at used bookstores. So here's where we are with these. I have these. I haven't read any of these yet, because I'm not that far in the series, although I will be reading Fool's Fate soon. So I got all of these. Alright guys, and we are in the home stretch. This is my last stack. It's my used Stephen King books I've gotten. I got The Dark Tower, the 7th book in The Dark Tower. Wolves of the Kala, which is the 5th book. Desperation, and The Regulators. These are companion novels, and these are part of the Dark Tower series. You can see this is wobbling because these are incredibly beefy. Anyway, I got all of these used as well. My mom found them for me. Well, actually, I think I found some of them, but my mom found the rest. So I'm giving The Dark Tower one last chance to impress me. I'm going to try reading them physically. So I'm going to start with the 3rd one because I remember what happens in the 1st and the 2nd, and I didn't like the 1st, so I refused to reread it. Have read Desperation, but I haven't read The Regulators, and I read Desperation so long ago that I might reread it and then read The Regulators. But I have not heard good things about The Regulators, so I don't know. We'll see. I like Desperation a lot. If you want to know what my favorite Stephen King books are, I have a video of my top Stephen King books that I will link above. Desperation's on there. Anyway, let me put these down. That is my humongous book haul for the past 7 months. This may be a lot, but I think there are people that buy way more books than I do. This is, I didn't count, but it's probably like 30-ish books over 7 months. That's not too bad. Anyway, I'm hoping to do another book haul after the holidays, probably sometime in January, because I'm hoping that my family gets me books for the holidays. Hint, hint, wink, wink, family watching this, if you are. Again, my Amazon wish list is down below in my link tree if you want to buy me books for the holidays. Mom, Dad. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Please let me know down below if any of these books I haven't read yet I should get to sooner than I feel like I'm planning. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really like my content, please hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post new videos. As always, your support means the world to me, and until next time, thank you guys.